everyone, I hope you all had lovely holidays and Christmas has now passed. I'm filming this video on 28th of December on a Monday, and so we had a lovely little break and did the best we could out of the circumstances we are in. It's 2020 in case you're watching in the future. Yeah, so it's been a interesting year to say the least. Okay, so I have already a December haul on my channel. It's a two kind of different videos. One is just unboxing and the other one is the swatching. So I've done another haul which is sort of just before the end of the year, and I thought I'll quickly jump in and film this because I am technically on holidays. I had to have a little break, so I pre-filmed all the videos that you have been watching in the past couple of weeks, and there are still a few videos to come right into the first week of January, and then I will start filming new videos again. So today what I have is I have some Daler-Rowneys, I have one Ecoline, I have some Rembrandts. I'll probably start with the Rembrandt watercolors, and then I have a bunch of papers sitting here which I will kind of share with you. So as always, I try to do a bit of a kind of swatching here for you. So I've done a swatching video for these watercolors already on my Instagram, and sometimes when I have a bit of time in the evening, what I tend to do on Instagram is just film something there, because it doesn't require like daylight. For me, Instagram are a lot easier videos. I don't need to edit anything. I just film it on my phone and just upload it. So it's Alyona Creates, and you can check it out if you want. So yeah, I basically decided to create a little color palette here from Rembrandt half pans, and I opted for 3 kind of oranges and 3 turquoises, and that's sort of the color theme that I created here. I also played around with color wheels, which I'll try to show you. So I've been having a blast of a time creating these pretty little color wheels and seeing what colors I can mix with them. And so here are some of the options. So I think, yeah, these 2, and here I just added like another color. So I'll explain. So here I have the Pyrrole orange, and then Azo yellow deep. For the yellow, that's for the red. Obviously that's the orange, but you can kind of still play around and see what colors you get. It's a really fun exercise. It doesn't have to be exact that yellow, red, blue, although those are the traditional colors for the color wheel, and those are the 3 colors that you can mix basically any color that you want. That's the idea behind it. But then you can also pick colors that are similar to that. You could pick a yellow that is more bright, or something like a yellow ochre, which is more toned down and kind of muted, but it's still a yellow at the end of the day. So you can really play around. So you can see here I have Pyrrole orange, here I have quinacridone orange, and here I have Shinhan purple gray, and what kind of, you know, colors it gives us. So obviously this type of red with a blue like that will give us a purple, and here we want to have a purple in these kind of secondary mixes. So that's a little play I had here. And then here I've done Azo yellow deep, so still keeping the same yellow, but I swapped it for quinacridone orange, which is more of a kind of earthier tone of an orange. And then for the blue I opted for the Dusk green, which again is a totally different thing. It has Mars black in it, PBK11 I believe it is, pigment, yeah, that's written right here. And so it has that black granulation in there, which will cause us beautiful granulation in the secondary mixes. And here I have then still kept the Azo Yellow Deep as the yellow because it's the most kind of yellow color in this arrangement. And then I went for the Cobalt Turquoise Green this time. So we've tried all of these and all of these, and then I decided to swap that, as I said before, for Shinhan Purple Grey to give me more of a classic mix here. So we've got more of an red, and we have a purple here, and more of a true kind of green, although the greens here are still kind of okayish, because these colors mix nice greens. So that's what I have done here. And yeah, if you obviously would go for more of a lemon yellow or a lighter yellow, you'd get more of an orange here rather than a red. So there's just things to keep in mind, what kind of colors you could mix. And it's still a fun way to put, you know, color palettes together as such, because the colors look really beautiful next to each other, but then they might also mix some interesting colors in between. And then in the middle here I have added some white, which creates then a pastel version of the same color. Just to tell you briefly what pigments we have. So for the Azo Yellow Deep, we have PY110, Pyrrole Orange PO71, Quinacridone Orange PO48, Cobalt Turquoise Green PG26, Bluish Green PG7 PB15, and Dusk Green is PBK11, which is that Mars Black, and PG7. So basically the colors predominantly are single pigmented. They're very pigmented, so they're very vivid and bright. They mix beautifully, and Rembrandt has been a great discovery this year in terms of more affordable but still great quality watercolors. And surprisingly, their half pans work just as well as their tubes. They I mean, I think I've tried now 12 of their half pans, and I haven't had a single problem of revetting them. They are really, really pretty, so they work really beautifully. Okay, so that's the watercolor section here. Then we'll move on to the Daler-Rowney, which is the FW grade, which basically is the artist grade. They also have a student grade acrylic ink, which is called System 3. And yeah, so you have the option, but I love the FWs. From that one that I just showed you, the System 3 Burnt Sienna, really I haven't noticed like a quality decline in them versus the artist grade. They still feel quite good, so I'm not entirely sure what the difference is. Usually the light fast and the pigment quality is the difference between student grade and artist grade, but for an acrylic ink this worked really well. But I haven't tried any other colors from the System 3. So I decided to expand the collection a little bit and go into sort of these. You can see the color scheme here is very similar to the watercolors as well. And so basically I have a red earth here, flesh tint, yellow ochre, turquoise, process, cyan, and marine blue, which is a beautiful turquoise color. It's really kind of nice. One thing I wanted to also mention, which I'm not sure whether I should mention in this video or not, there is a bit of a difference between the Liquitex acrylic inks and the Daler-Rowney, which I seem to prefer the Daler-Rowney, and I don't know if I should just do a little swatch to show you what I mean. Okay, I will use the watercolor block here. This is the rough paper to demo because it's a small piece of paper, so I think it's good. I'll come to the papers in a minute anyway, but here just as an example, so this is the yellow Orange Azo. The only other color I have is a black, which obviously is not going to tell us much, and I might have had a white, which I'm not entirely sure if I did or not, but I definitely have a black, and then I have a couple of the metallics, so I don't have that many colors of this. I know Wilna Furstenberg, I think, if I'm remembering her name correctly, she loves these and uses these acrylic inks in her work, these Liquitex, quite frequently, and I think this is what made me kind of want to try them out. But I haven't bought any more colors since. Now, as you can see, this particular one is really transparent, and it's really sort of bright and vibrant. Now, the thing with them is you can't get much of a gradient because the color is so strong, eventually it pulls right back there. So you can see there is a pull, and although this looks like a gradient, by the time it dries, it almost will pull all the way there, and there won't be much of a gradient. Even looking at this part here to that part, there isn't too much. I mean, there's a marginally small gradient that you can notice, but not as much. Now, if I show you the Daler-Rowney, so this is the yellow ochre, I guess that would be probably the most similar color I could match to it. So I'll just show you this one. So these straight away, they look opaque. And so, but watch this, they have a beautiful value change here where you can go to really sort of pale color, and but you can also build them up and have them look like acrylics. And the color that I really love for this nuance is a raw sienna. So I'll just show you. So some of them have to be shaken up. They have the white settled here at the bottom, and so this is a really interesting color. And so it starts off looking like not much, but then it starts almost kind of glowing. It has that beautiful transparency to it, and you can see probably better in this color what I mean. So look at all the way there to here, and then the middle range, it's got so much. Now here you can start seeing that I added a bit of the more water right at the end, and that's where there is a line. But basically, if you just look at this part, that's as much as you get. You don't get that sort of nice variety, and that's what I like about the Daler-Rowney. Obviously, it also depends on the color. Like this color is just really stunning. It's kind of similar in some ways to that Senelli and Mars yellow. So anyway, so that's just to explain the difference between the two acrylic inks. To me, I find these a bit more interesting. But yeah, it all depends what you do. If you're more into colorful works, you could maybe add a couple of drops of these into your watercolors to give some extra vibrancy to them. All right, so the final thing that I wanted to mention is this Ecoline Liquid Watercolour, which is a 533, and it's the color called Indigo. Now, these are, if you're new to them, they are dye-based watercolors. They're not pigment-based. These are pigment-based acrylic inks, so they have all the pigments written up here and the light fastness as well. So I've played with the indigo a little bit, and that has been so much fun. Here I just dropped some water and also a little bit of the Ecoline gold just to see whether I could create an interesting effect. And it almost looks like a starry night sky. It's really pretty. And yeah, so that was an interesting thing to do. And you can combine that with, you know, other colors if you wish. So that's that for the kind of the colors. I didn't get the gold to dye, or this time I got it a while ago, but I just wanted to try it here. And then in terms of the papers, I will just show you what I got here. So the one we already tried, which is this one, and it's a smaller size, which I think it's great if you want to just experiment with little swatches, or you want to have a little card where you can mix colors and just see them quickly, and you don't need to do that in a sketchbook if you don't want to do that. So that's a great little format, and this is the 4x6. Now they have the most like such a big variety of all these sizes and formats, so you can get loads of different things. So this is a 4x5, and there is just a big number of different ones you can look into. This particular one is the Rough Natural White 300 GSM. It's got 15 sheets in there, and really good price, affordable price. Now, one thing I'm not entirely clear about is, so these are the Jackson's paper blocks, but many years ago I bought my first one, which is not this one. There is a bigger one that I have, and that one I bought a few years ago, and that also is supposed to be Jackson's rough paper. Now it's got a completely different texture, so if I'll bring it closer, so this is the texture of this block, rough, and this is the texture of this, so you can see the difference here. And from what I understand, if I'm not wrong, then this paper or these type of blocks are more affordable than these. But again, it's hard to say because these are larger size. So I'm not sure whether these were sort of like their old stock maybe, and maybe they changed something around. I have no idea. But they have nothing written on them at all. But I just remembered that I bought them as Jackson's paper, and this particular one I bought exactly the same paper as I had from before, but just a smaller, slightly smaller format. And again, there's nothing written on it, so I have no idea what the difference there is. I should actually ask them. I might do that and update you when I know a little bit more. But this seems to be a different rough textured paper. The same thickness though, and the color is lovely. I haven't played with them apart from just watching these Daler-Rowneys on them, and it seems to behave quite nicely. I also got the cold press, which is also natural white, also 300 GSM, and also 15 sheets. It says acid free everywhere on there as well. So let me just show you the texture of this paper. Okay, so it's kind of the same thing, but slightly less. So that's the texture of this one. Let me just hold it right next to each other, like that. So you can see it's the same pattern of the press, but just less rough. A bit more smoother, but the texture is okay. And then the same as this rough, I also got a bigger one. I like the rough texture. It kind of feels a bit more organic to me, and it has it's great with like granulating watercolors, I find, so I like using that. So exactly the same thing, just a 6x8, so it's a nice little format as well. And yeah, they're quite neat, like I said, just to use as little swatching kind of notepads or something like that. Paper pads rather. I wouldn't do notes in them. Okay, so the next one I got is these kind of sample packs. You can get them with your order, and I think you can get one per order, which comes to like, I think £1 something you pay for them. And these are the Yupo papers, which I wanted to try for a very long time. I even got those Tim Holtz alcohol inks, and haven't had a chance to play with them yet. Just had a busy year with other projects, but here is what I got. So I got to try the Yupo heavy paper and the Yupo translucent, and then I got the Yupo medium right here, which I'll show you. So it says here, a radically novel breed of paper, tree-free, bright white and stain-proof. It allows artists to create shapes, patterns, and nuances that are impossible to achieve on conventional paper. Non-absorbent and slick. a revelation for artists. This is Yupo Heavy. Okay, so basically this is like plastic paper, so it's supposed to be made in a kind of way where it's not the paper that you are used to from, you know, being made in an organic way or the traditional sense of way. So it's supposed to have some sort of a resist where you can use them with different mediums and it behaves differently. So haven't tried, and I might do a separate video on that in the new year where I show you. Now this is interesting because it's got like a translucency to it, but it's really thick. So it's like if I put my finger here, you can sort of see it, but not too much. So excellent beginning point for a variety of mediums. Remaining to all Yupo revolutionary qualities, this substrate allows artists to rethink coloring from a fresh perspective. So we'll see what that does, and I'll do a video probably where I'll try different mediums just to see maybe coloring pencils and watercolors, acrylic inks, couple of different things to see how it sort of reacts. And then this I thought was quite interesting. It's an interesting format. It's a super long one, and it's the medium paper. So it says here suitable for watercolor, alcohol inks and acrylics. It's a 200 GSM, 10 sheets, white, acid-free, 100% polypropylene, something like that. And so it says here, a true innovation in the fine art substrates. This synthetic tree-free paper is everlasting and non-absorbent. It resists buckling with wet media and can be wiped clean. Pigments will retain true clarity and brightness, a new way for techniques to flourish. So that's interesting, because the problem I have with Winsor & Newton watercolor paper, although it's so incredibly expensive, is that it absorbs the brightness of the pigments, I find. So it's an interesting sensation when you touch this. It's super sleek. It kind of, your finger just glides over it. So it's obviously completely different to the textured or rough watercolor paper that I like. But I bought these to play with alcohol inks in particular, but I do want to see how my watercolors would look on these. So a separate video is coming on that in the new years, where I'll have a bit more time to play around and share my experience. So that's it for today. I want to wish you a much better new year. May 2021 be a lot more kinder to all of us. And you know, 2020 has been an interesting year, and some parts of it actually have been quite a lesson, and I think I was thankful to have those moments, even though they might have been difficult. So I'm trying to see some positive in 2020, but nonetheless, I do wish all of us to have a better year in the new year. So thanks for watching, and I will see you on the 1st with a fun little illustration. See you then.